Federal government moves to change approaches towards overcoming national security challenges. Appeal court dismisses suit challenging nomination of Governor Aiyedatiwa deputy as APC candidates in last governorship election. Good evening and welcome on the news at 7. I am Omoshibiola Adesoya Ajayi. White smoke has billowed from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel, signaling that cardinals locked inside have elected a new leader for the Catholic Church. Thousands of pilgrims and curious onlookers in the St. Peter's Square cheered an 1-year-old American-born Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost has been chosen by the conclave to be the new Pope. He will be known as Pope Leo the 16th.
Annuncio vobis gaudium magnum. Habemus papam. Eminentissimum, ac reverendissimum Dominum, Dominum Robertum Franciscum, Sancte Romane Ecclesiae, Cardinalem Prevost, qui sibi nomen imposuit Leonem 14.
Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa says his administration remains committed to ensuring that every child in the state has equitable access to quality education and the opportunity to thrive regardless of background. Speaking at the official flag off of the distribution of instructional materials and sports equipment to public primary and junior secondary schools across the state, 18 local government areas, Governor Aiyedatiwa described the occasion as more than ceremonial, calling it a significant stride towards as successfully access the Beg-to-Beg Fund up to 2024, leading to major infrastructure development and procurement initiatives made possible through prompt payment of counterpart funding. Government House correspondent Wahaba reports.
In a move to boost education and sports development, flagged off the distribution of instructional materials and sports equipment held at St. James Mega Primary School in Akure. The event drew key stakeholders from the education and sports sectors and marked the implementation of 2023 and 2024 UBEC-SUBEB intervention programs. Welcoming guest, the chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, Victor Labinton, thanked the state governor for prioritizing education through consistent counterpart funding and policy support. He underscored the target of achieving a 1:1 textbook to learner ratio and called on stakeholders to make judicious use of the distributed materials.
We came first overall in Abuja. Ondo State came first. If we catch them young, they can go places. They can be better Muduba Oshikoyas tomorrow. They can be better anybody tomorrow. Therefore, at the primary school level, we want to catch them young. So that as we are catching them young, they are maturing into other cadres. They can from there go international.
In their goodwill message, education sector and encouraged continued support for its administration.
Not demonstrated interest by being present here. I'm not surprised because when there is anything that has to do with counterpart funding, which you beg, Ondo State is one of the first states to contribute their own fund.
Mr. Governor has other appointment, but because of the premium he placed on basic education and on this program, he sacrificed other assignment to be here today so that to flag up this event. We say thank you so much, sir.
You are punctual. This is a very big score, which we must eulogize you for. We appreciate you, sir.
As a ministry, we will not relent in our effort. A stronger, virile, smarter, and more active generation.
Governor Aiyedatiwa, addressing the gathering, reaffirmed his administration's dedication to providing every child with access to quality education, stressing that the goal is to build a functional education system and advance technological development in the state. He noted the prioritization of teachers' training and capacity building, stating that no education system can outperform the quality of its teachers. The governor highlighted the recruitment of over 2,100 teachers for primary and secondary schools and ongoing training in core subjects and digital literacy.
Today's event is not just about handing out books and sporting materials, but it represents a strong message to the general public of this administration's avowed commitment to building a future where every child, regardless of his or her background, has better access to quality education and opportunity to thrive life.
Acknowledging the value of physical education, Aiyedatiwa lauded the state's impressive performance in regional and national school sports competitions. He announced the distribution of sport equipment including football kits, chessboards, swimming kits, badminton rackets, and table tennis sets to 52 basic schools. Instructional materials distributed include over 75,000 textbooks and literary resources in subjects such as English, basic science and technology, history, national values, and computer studies. Android tablets loaded with up-to-date educational content were also part of the package. In a symbolic gesture, Governor Aiyedatiwa demonstrated his table tennis skills and joined pupils in a classroom exercise using the topic drugs as a learning subject. The event also featured cultural performances and rhythm recitation by pupils.
And the Ondo State government has emphasized the importance of giving equal attention to both boys and girls in shaping the future of society. Addressing a cross-section of male students at Oyemekun Grammar School and Aquinas College in Akure, the state capital, Special Advisor to Governor Aiyedatiwa on Women Affairs, Dr. Shane Osamaye, maintained that every child, regardless of gender, deserves equal care and attention.
As early as 7 a.m. on Thursday, the team visited Oyemekun Grammar School, addressing students during their morning assembly before proceeding to Aquinas College, ensuring the students receive accurate and impactful information firsthand. Dr. Osamaye reaffirmed the Aiyedatiwa administration's commitment to gender inclusiveness, stressing that everyone, regardless of gender or social status, is entitled to quality governance.
The essence of identifying these unique needs and the unique challenges being faced by you all is to find solutions to them, so that as young boys, you can grow up to help yourself to navigate through life skills and become better human beings.
She added that all boys' schools across the state would be reached in the ongoing campaign.
According to Mr. Governor, all children are important, both girls and boys. It simply means as indigenes or residents of these dear states, it doesn't matter your gender, whether you are a girl or you are a boy, we should treat you with equal measure.
taking the students on key values and life skills needed for success were board member of the Hospital Management Board, Ariola Adamolekun, Director of Planning, Research and Statistics, Shola Oladeji, and Director of Counseling Services at the Ondo State Agency Against Gender-Based Violence, Babatunde Emorua.
Make sure you move with people that have clear understanding about what they want to become in future.
When you reason well, you know how to respect others. When you reason well, you will be able to maintain your dream and achieve your purpose.
Both students and their principals expressed appreciation for the government's intervention, describing it as timely and essential.
I have a positive view about it because I feel that everything should not just be about girls. Like, we are a gender together, so we are supposed to learn new things, and I feel it's a positive action towards reducing violence among the male gender.
Our governor asked us to come and do it.
It's a very great thing, and we are very, very, very happy about it. And we wish things like this will continue so that our boys will know their position in the society.
I used to tell you, I passed out from this school, I focus on my academics, all these things that enumerated, I manage them, and I become the principal of the school, and you will get your greater height in Jesus' name.
The team had earlier visited 3 boys-only schools in Ondo town, with the sensitization tour expected to continue across the state. Omoriola Humbiji, OSRC News.
In pursuit of National Immunization Plus Days, the Ondo State chapter of the National Orientation Agency, NOA, has joined forces with Ondo State Primary Health Center Development Agency to flag off mass vaccination for children in the state. At the official flag off of the event by the Secretary to the State Government in Akure, Dr. Taiwo Osrc, Ondo State Director of NOA, Mr. James Adekule, appealed to young mothers to present children aged 0 to 5 years for vaccination when health officials reach out to them. According to Adekule, NOA will continue to support mass vaccination at the grassroots and collaborate with health officials to reach every community. Osrc, who represented Ondo State Governor Dr. Loke Aiyedatiwa, assured the public of the governor's constant support for primary health care in the state, affirming that it is the responsibility of the state of sodium-based medications. Reacting to the cleric's claims, the ministry emphasized that while sodium as a key component of salt is essential for body functions, it must be consumed in moderation. The ministry reaffirmed that faith and science are not at odds, but can and should work together for well-being of society. The Senate has passed 2 of President Bola Tinubu's 4 proposed tax reforms bill, marking a key milestone in the ongoing overhaul of Nigeria's tax administration system. The approved legislation includes the Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Bill and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill. Their passage came a day after deliberations were postponed to allow lawmakers address contentious provisions within the bills. However, the Senate rejected a proposal to raise the value-added tax to 10%, opting to retain the current rate amid growing public concern over the rising cost of living. You're watching the news at 7 on Osrc Television. We take a break now. When we come back, the news continues. Please take the way. Glad to have you back. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at Osrc TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel Osrc TV Ondo. In an unprecedented feat, the Ondo State Governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa administration has slashed the state's domestic debt by 82.6% within just 1 year. Residents say the feat demonstrates clear fiscal discipline and strong policy direction. Omorion language was in Akure, the state capital, to gauge public opinion and explore the benefits of this achievement to the people. The report.
It's a rare feat in Nigeria's public finance landscape. From a domestic debt burden of 74 billion naira in 2023, Ondo State now owes just 12 billion naira as of 2024, a staggering reduction of 82.6%. According to the latest report from the Debt Management Office, no other state in the Federation has matched this record, as Ebonyi comes next with a 76.2% reduction. Public analyst Bolu Esho welcomed the development, stressing that incurring debt without tangible outcomes amounts to nothing.
I prefer that the state government spends the entire money that we have in the coffers than with, development or infrastructure, commensurate infrastructural development. Yeah, I prefer that rather than saving money and then we have nothing to show for it, and the people are suffering out there. It's the reason they are there is to spend the money for the people and for the development of the state. So it's a good thing that at least they didn't incur debt and having nothing to show for it.
To Babatope Okeowo, reducing debt is commendable, but he believes borrowing remains a necessary part of governance and should be channeled into impactful fiscal projects.
Even USA, as big as its economy is still owing. All countries all over the world are owing. So Ondo State is not an exception. So reducing it is good, but what we want is not just for the debt to be reduced, but for government to use available resources for the benefits of the citizens. Are you getting my point? For instance now, assuming we are not even owing. Yes, very good, we are not owing. But we need money for roads, we need money for hospitals, we need money for other social infrastructures. And there's nothing wrong if the government borrow this money and use it to do all these things.
Chairman of the Ondo State Internal Revenue Service, Bayo Rojugbokon, described the achievement a significant development that has elevated the state's reputation among Nigeria's subnationals.
Debt is part of our GDP, it's an input to our GDP. So if we reduce our debt, it means that we have increased the competition, the basis for competition for our GDP. And that means Ondo State is placed at the highest state in the committee of subnationals in Nigeria. And no wonder there's news about it, that Ondo State is about the first state in Nigeria to have done that, have achieved that. Well, it depends on the policy of the governor, and the governor has shown to us that he meant well for the state. So he wants to have a clean book for the state.
In governance, now that Ondo State has set a new benchmark in subnational fiscal discipline, stakeholders are keen to see how this momentum will be sustained. For now, the state stands tall as a model for prudence in governance. Omorion Language, Osrc News.
The Court of Appeal sitting in Akure, Ondo State, has affirmed the election of Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa and his deputy, Olaide Adelani, dismissing an appeal challenging the validity of the APC primary that produced them as candidates. The unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Oyebisi Omoyeye upheld the earlier ruling of the Federal High Court, which dismisses the suit filed by Olubega Idema, candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP), on procedural grounds. Justice Toyin Bolaji Adegoke of the Federal High Court had ruled that the suit became incompetent after the NNPP withdrew from the case, leaving Edema without a proper one-party system. It was properly planned for, stressing that Nigeria's complex ethnic, religious, and political landscape necessitates a more inclusive political framework. Jonathan's remarks come amid growing concerns about shrinking space for opposition politics, with an increasing number of defections to the ruling All Progressives Congress and complaints from the civil society about crippling authoritarianism. The federal government has called for an overhaul of military tactics to address Nigeria's worsening insecurity. The Senate resolved to hold a two-day national security summit to brainstorm a solution to the rising wave of killing and other forms of insecurity in the country. The decision followed a motion sponsored by Jimoh Ibrahim, senator representing Ondo South, and the resumption of plenary. However, during a ministerial briefing in Abuja, Minister of Defense Mohammed Badar questioned the relevance of the Senate's proposed National Security Summit, arguing instead for renewed strategy. Badar also dismissed the idea that terrorists possess superior firepower compared to the Nigerian military, insisting that the nation's armed forces are better equipped. Russian President Vladimir Putin proposed a 3-day ceasefire to mark the end of World War II, but Ukraine has rejected the offer. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky is calling for at least a 30-day truce, citing the need for meaningful peace. The stalemate reflects a deep lack of trust, with the U.S. warning that the divide may be unbreachable. Let's see the details.
In the days leading up to a Moscow-proposed ceasefire, U.S. President Donald Trump said the hatred between Russia and Ukraine